Is it?
That's my buddy Geiger. I hate him.
His name is Geiger?
Josh Geiger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we call him by his last name because his first name is
Josh.
Cuck. Yeah. People named Joshes are cucks. Are we live?
Yeah,
Are we doing
sure.
it? Are we going to do this? I mean, I'm ready.
Vinny, are we?
All right, we're good. All right. Well, welcome back to the locker room. That was a nice little conversation I had with one of my least favorite people on this planet. He probably won't watch this, and so that's why I'm saying it. Yeah. And that's fine, right?
His name is Josh.
Is there anyone here that you would like to call out? You know they won't watch it.
Anybody that wanted the Seahawks to sign Jadeveon Clowney in the offseason, you suck, and I hope that you have repented.
That could actually be some of our viewers, though.
Yeah, no, I know. You still suck.
Fair enough. All right. Well,
thanks for watching the show.
Well, I'm your host, Justin Reed, alongside Andrew Tenney. We have a little bit new lighting today. It's nice and bright in here. I'm not going to fall asleep when you talk.
Yeah, you can see through my skin, too. It's great.
Yeah, you are pretty translucent.
Thank you. Yeah, and even against a completely white shirt.
It doesn't help.
No, it doesn't
help at all.
It makes it worse.
So we had some awesome things going on last night. We mentioned it last week. The Sounders actually had a game, a playoff game of the sorts. They played LAFC, the team that they beat last year in the Western Conference Finals, who had the best season all time in the regular season last year. This year dealt with injuries, but they actually had a really good game last night. Sounders hosted them at Lumen Field and beat them 3-1. I have a couple highlights to show. I think were you able to watch it? You said you saw the highlights or something?
Yeah, I saw the highlights. I did get to watch a little bit of New England and who was it? Somebody? I don't know. One of those franchises. 2 quick goals.
Philadelphia, I think.
Anyway, would you say that the Sounders got lucky?
No. So, I mean, the Sounders, well, there were multiple shots that the Sounders had on target. Morris hit the crossbar. Ladero hit the post. Rui Diaz had a ball that skipped across the turf that he couldn't quite redirect a goal. But, yeah, Vela's penalty was right at Stephen Fry there right after the Sounders scored their first goal. So, I don't think they got lucky. I think the Sounders dominated that game. I think they deserved to win. I think they were lucky not to be down 3-2. There was a goal later on in that game that the guy ended up being offsides. And so just kind of how it worked.
Okay, so my first question for you is, who the hell is number 10 and why is he 45 years old?
Nicholas Ladero's not 45.
Dude, he looks like he should be retired.
Well, we'll see him here. He actually scores the first goal. Let's actually pull up that first little highlight here, Vincent. See, so that's him right there. Chest trap, nice little flick on. Christian Roldan up to Raul Rui Diaz here. Spots Jordan Morris at the far post. Morris collects, sees Ladero sprinting here 55 yards later. Nice curling bender right to the inside post. Right past the LAFC goalkeeper. So that guy doesn't look 45.
Dude, I don't know. It's something about his hairline. It's something about, like, the stature of his body. He's just got, like, I don't know.
Well, here's actually the penalty. So this was the MVP last year. That was bad. That was really
sorry
bad
kick.
I don't know if he thought that Fry was going to dive and he was just trying to be cheeky. And here's this replay again. I mean, that's just impressive. But look where he starts. The guy who chests that, look at that run. He makes all the way down there, but he's actually 31, not 45. But he's Uruguayan. Not from Montevideo like all the other stars in Uruguay. He's actually from a town like 40 minutes away. That's a good shot. So that was a really good start. That was the first goal. That gave the Sounders actually some good life for the rest. They dominated the first half. The only time the Sounders felt out of control actually was the second half for the first 10 minutes or so, and then maybe the last 10 minutes of the game. And here's that brutal penalty again.
Yeah, that was tough.
Stephen Fry, that was his first saved penalty kick outside of PKs, like the actual thing at the end of the game. So that was his first during the game PK save in 16 tries. So that was the one where the ball skipped up. Vinny, let's go ahead and skip forward to the next bit there, the next Sounders goal. This one was scored.
Also, I know the odds aren't exactly in the goalkeeper's favors on penalty kicks, but 1 out of 16, that's probably not great.
No, it's not good.
Not good.
So that was the one that went off the crossbar here. So here's Christian Roldan shooting it straight across. There's the one off the crossbar. That was, again, another one from Jordan Morris. And here's the actual goal that they made. So this was the second Sounders goal. And Rui Diaz is the kind of guy who he gets a good amount of opportunities, but when he gets an opportunity like this, he doesn't miss. The goalie should have done better there. He had pretty weak wrists. That's the guy who weak wristed it. That's a limp wrist attempt at a save. So I wouldn't want to be his friend there. So that was, again, the second goal, and that was, the 66th minute it looks like there. So at this point, people were pretty confident the Sounders were going to win. It took all the way until the 80th minute, I think, is when we started getting some interaction just before the 80th minute. Here we go. So the LAFC had just scored. And so people were worried that the Sounders might give it up. And here's Jordan Morris. Just calm, cool, and collective. Slotted it to the far post after a nice run. After all, this is my favorite celebration of the night. Look how pumped they are. Right into his welcoming arms. So those were the main highlights. But it was nice to see that some of those runs being made. Really nice job to hold himself off on side here. And Morris is just faster than anyone else in the field. So
how do you like their chances against Dallas?
Oh, I think they're going to do really well. They beat them last year. Seattle actually had a really tough line to the MLS Cup last year. They went Dallas, LAFC, and then Toronto FC in the finals. So I think they should do really well against FC Dallas this year. I'm not sure what their past results against FC Dallas are this year. Dallas is a good team. They have been for a while. But I think one thing that I really want to point out is that the Sounders stars continue to show up in big moments, and they have the last couple seasons in terms of winning the MLS Cup 2 of the last 3 years, or 2 of the last 4 years, excuse me. They have a chance to make it 3 and 5, which is ridiculous. Their Sounders are the best ranked team left in the standing in the playoffs because the 1 and 2 fell in the East. The 1 already fell in the West, and so Sounders are in really good position to advance to the MLS Cup again for the 3rd time in 5 years. So, no, I think they have a really good shot. So they play FC Dallas in Seattle. They'll host Dallas again, either December 1st or 2nd. With a chance to advance to the MLS Cup.
Oh, they only got to win 2 games?
They got to win 1 more.
Oh,
yeah, they got to
really?
bye. Yeah, because they were
got you.
top 2 teams. So, yeah, they're almost there, and that's sweet, again, in this crazy season where they've had a ton of international break guys, injuries, COVID obviously has been a big problem. But, yeah, it's been fun to be a Sounders fan.
Yeah, speaking of being a Sounders fan, 3 favorite Sounders of all time.
Dempsey.
Whoa, really? How many years did he actually play?
He played for like 5 years in Seattle.
Okay, was it that long?
Yeah, he got introduced, I want to say, in like 2012 or 13, and his last year was 17 or 18. So Dempsey's up there. I'd say Jordan Morris because he's a local kid. Actually, my buddy Tim, who I've mentioned before, he played soccer against him back in high school. And club.
Really?
Yeah, and yeah, obviously the greatest player he's ever played against. So I'd say Morris, Dempsey. If I want to pick a guy that's like just a true Sounder at heart, it's either Brad Evans or Osvaldo Alonso. Both were there when they made the jump to MLS. Chad Marshall was a great defender.
Yeah.
Chad Marshall was a really fun guy to have. Obafemi Martins was a stud. Probably he could be the most just pure talented player that they've ever had.
Okay.
I mean, he was fast. He was clinical. But they've had just such awesome players over the years. I mean, they've really been loaded. They've made the playoffs all 12 of their years in MLS.
So you remember, I think it was the 2014 World Cup when the U.S. beat, was it Ghana in that first game? And Dempsey, took charge and had a couple sick goals. But one of the midfielders, one of the wings on that team was Alejandro Bedoya. And so he plays for the Philadelphia Union, correct?
Yep.
Wow, he has gained weight.
Yeah,
he looks like a completely different person. It looks like 20 years have passed.
That's what happens
he's still on the pitch, man.
I know, it's really weird because he's definitely by far like one of the oldest guys in MLS, especially. Is
Chris Wandallowski still playing?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, this
Christ,
is his last. I think he's done now. Actually, I think they're out. But yeah,
he's like the all-time MLS leading goal scorer.
He's
right?
If not the number 1, he's top 3. Because I think Donovan's 1. I think Wandallowski's 2 or 3.
I almost want to say Wandallowski's 1. I think you're wrong, and you're an MLS fan.
Could be. You look it up while I try and distract the audience from the fact that you're on your phone. And Vin, he just sent it back to us. Now he's caught red-handed.
Actually, you want to talk about something that you so rudely passed over. You want to talk about Lucky Bird a little bit?
I didn't pass over them. That's your job.
I tried to cue him in. I was like, did the Sounders get lucky? You didn't pick up on it. It's cool. We're like 25 episodes in.
You could maybe.
A little lack of rapport.
You don't have to be so passive. Be more direct.
Okay, true. Well, here we go.
I think.
Want to talk about Lucky Bird? Because it's my favorite part of the show. Should be yours. I know
my
it's
second
yours.
favorite, since my ad read's probably my favorite. But
you guys know how much we love Lucky Bird here at the Locker Room, and Lucky Bird wants you guys to know that they're a Spokane-based e-commerce and digital marketing company. They're dedicated to helping the local companies scale in the online world of e-commerce and digital marketing. So we want you guys to visit luckybirdbrands.com today to have a down-to-earth, no-pressure conversation about all of your digital marketing and e-commerce strategies today. Lucky Bird, boom, what you got?
That was good. Oh,
no, it's okay.
Lucky Bird makes me think of Leonard Skynyrd.
Nice.
Because of Freebird.
Okay.
I actually saw them in concert at Quest a few years ago.
How'd it go?
Really good. So, their lead singer, their former lead singer was a Van Zant. He was one of the guys who died in a plane crash. Everybody from that day and age died in a plane crash, it seemed like.
It's a thing that people do. Harrison Ford's tried to do it like 4 different times. It hasn't successfully pulled it off.
No, he hasn't. I like Harrison Ford. I'm trying to share this to my Facebook here so I can get it off.
Chris Wandallowski is number 1.
Really?
He has 20 more goals than Landon Donovan at number 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Who's at 3?
Jeff Cunningham.
He's an old guy. Who's at 4? I want to hear the top 5.
Jamie Marino.
Yeah, he's an old guy too.
And then it does not
He's
show
a Mexican
the top.
international, I think. Doesn't show 5, really?
Yeah, just have the top 4. But anyway.
That's interesting.
Sorry, I know a little bit more about soccer than you.
Yeah, it makes me just put me on the spot there on blast in front of everybody. That's not very nice.
Sir.
That's fine. I know everything else.
I have another question for you. I know that you're a big NBA guy. Out of all the free agent signings that have transpired, and especially over the weekend, which one stood out to you the most? For whatever reason.
Free agent
most
signing?
Shocking, best addition, worst addition.
Well, the one that stood out the most, just because it's most recent on my mind and we kind of mentioned it already, the Bogdanovich situation was odd. Was really weird. Just the whole.
It's a really bad look for the Bucks. The fact that got reported is really rough, considering they couldn't even do the sign and trade yet. The deadline hadn't passed or hadn't started, and he hadn't agreed to it. And you kind of have to get him on board. And so, now he's an Atlanta Hawk. Who isn't an Atlanta Hawk? They got Delano Gallinari. They got Rajon Rondo as well. They made a lot of moves. They did make a lot of moves just to scrape by and get the 7th or 8th seed in the East, so that management appears as if they're doing great things, and so that ownership doesn't fire them. Really typical Atlanta Hawk business.
Lakers picked up a lot of pieces.
Dude, they had the best offseason by far.
I think so. The only thing they missed out on was a guard. They lost Rondo.
Sure, they got Wes Matthews, which obviously doesn't replace.
That's a help, but
they also got Dennis Schroeder.
True. So who runs that offense?
LeBron. Or are you talking about with
guard wise, point guard?
Well, it's going to be Schroeder
at point
in the second. Yeah.
I guess
off the bench. Yeah. I mean, who else?
Off the bench. Who's going to be Who's going to be the starting point guard then?
LeBron. LeBron is the starting point guard.
Well, who fills
was
out
the starting point guard for this past 2019-2020
well,
Lakers?
LeBron runs point a lot, but you need a facilitator.
LeBron.
No,
unless they change the formula that worked pretty well for them last year. I think that's you're going to see a lot more of that. You want to talk about the Celtics a little bit?
Well, I actually was going to mention that real quick. The fact that they were able to trade Cantor back to the Trailblazers was shocking. Why do they don't need him? They got rid of him for a reason.
Yeah, I don't know why anybody would really want Cantor. He can't really play
he's
in
kind
the
of
postseason.
Old school.
Yeah, he's old school. He can get you he's really nice around the rim for whatever that is worth. And I mean, he's good on the offensive board, particularly getting some extra possessions. But man, smart teams just attack him right away. Right when Brad Stevens put him on the floor, Miami's like, nope, ain't happening. So Portland had some interesting
They did. They didn't
inconsequential
really do much.
moves. They got Robert Covington, which is nice on paper, I guess. Does it ultimately change the trajectory of their team? Absolutely not. What were some of the other moves that they made? I'm blanking on them right now. But
well, they lost Rodney Hood.
No, they got him back. They re-signed it.
He did come back.
Which again, and I think it was for a pretty hefty number too. And it's just Rodney Hood, and he's coming off an Achilles. It's not exactly what you want. But I think going back to the Lakers, I think they're the only contender that actually got better this offseason. Boston took a step back. Denver losing Jeremy Grant, that's a huge loss for
Clippers
them.
Took a step back.
Yeah, the Clippers. Okay,
actually, they're probably fairly normal.
They're almost kind of the same because I do think that Serge Ibaka is an upgrade to Montrezl Harrell, and especially when it comes to the postseason.
You think who is? Sorry?
Serge Ibaka.
Oh, yeah, probably. His style of play fits better.
His defensive versatility, being able to guard the 4 or the 5, he can stretch the floor. He's a legitimate threat beyond the perimeter. Montrezl Harrell, he couldn't stay on the floor, especially in that Denver series against Jokic.
Consistently.
It is a better fit for Harrell going to the Lakers because now he doesn't have to defend Anthony Davis. He's not going to be needed in those second units. And they picked up Marc Gasol, which was another great signing for them.
Really good.
Because, I mean, he's not going to be asked to do nearly as much with the Lakers as he was with Toronto, and his age was showing a little bit, especially in the bubble. People were speculating that he might be working through injuries. He looked old. He looked washed. But I don't know how much you're supposed to take and apply to this upcoming season from what happened with particular individuals and teams in the bubble, because it was such an unprecedented experience and took such a toll on so many different players in so many different ways. So it's going to be interesting to see how things that we noticed and saw during the bubble, whether those continue or completely change or something in between.
But things had to
in the next season.
They had to have they needed to game plan differently, obviously, because things were weird and players weren't playing, and like Ariza was gone, he wasn't playing for the Blazers, so they obviously had to change up their entire game plan. So yeah, it was kind of a funky, weird. I mean, we've seen it with every single sport, but like the NBA was in such a weird spot because so many big time players did end up opting out,
right,
which was different compared to any of the other major sports.
Yeah, no, I know, it's true. The Celtics got worse as well.
Nice.
Gordon, unless they pull off some sign and trade, which there's a little bit of hope that they might, just because Charlotte hasn't initially or officially been able to announce the signing of Gordon Hayward, but they lost an asset. There were rumors and speculation that they were in talks with Indiana, which most of the league thought was the direct team that Boston was going to be looking to deal Hayward to, just because of his Indiana ties, and because they need some center, some big help, and Miles Turner was a guy that was being thrown in there as the trade asset back to Boston. I'm actually okay with the fact that they didn't end up getting Turner. I don't think he offers anything defensively, and for his size, he is not great on the board. So I actually like the fact that they were able to pick up Tristan Thompson, and for the number that they were able to do that. We saw Tristan Thompson in those Golden State and Cleveland finals, and especially for the first two, he played, and he was an integral part to keeping them in that first series, and definitely more so winning that second series against them.
Is Khloe Kardashian coming with Tristan?
Oh, God. I had not considered that.
That's fun. That'd be fun.
They had Humphreys for a hot minute back in the day.
There's no keeping up with the Kardashians, so they're gonna have to do something to keep their name in the headlines.
They are, yeah.
Any publicity is good any publicity is good publicity when you are crazy, or
true.
You haven't had a sex tape release in a while.
Long while, man.
Long while.
But yeah, so Boston lost an asset. So for the second straight offseason, they've lost a total of 3 max players. They lost Kyrie Irving, very okay with. Every Boston fan was ready to pack Kyrie's bags for him, drive him to the airport, and ship him off to whoever was sorry enough to take Kyrie. So that's kind of, you put an asterisk on that. But then Horford, who is a savvy, smart, intelligent vet, also went elsewhere, signing with Philadelphia last offseason, but he got huge money that Philadelphia was fortunate enough to trade him to Oklahoma City because Sam Presti's just trying to get all those picks. And he's like, yeah, I'll take your awful contract. Just give me a first-round pick with that. So Philadelphia, to their credit, was able to get out of that. But and now there's the Gordon Hayward thing. Man, has there been like a more unfortunate series of events, years, seasons, and injuries associated with a player than Gordon Hayward in his past 3 years with Boston?
Yeah,
awful.
Bad.
I don't blame him. I'm not mad at him. I wish him nothing but the best. I feel bad for the dude. I hope that he's able to regain some of the magic that he had.
He's a good guy. Like, I don't know. I
can't. Yeah, well, one of the things, apparently, like, okay, so players have their entourages, their camps. Apparently, you're not allowed to say posses anymore. But you know, the people that are in
What's
there.
wrong with posse?
I don't want to get into it. I don't know.
Was that one of like the what's the term I'm looking for?
Canceled?
Like it's like a stereotype or like a
I think
what's
so.
The word?
I don't know. People use it
like you can't dress up as Native American. Is that what the same thing
it's something like that? Yeah. I don't really care to know either because
why would you even bring that up, man? You should have known better.
I really should have.
You said it. Yeah, you still said it, man.
Anyway, people in Jaylen Brown's camp were contentious toward Gordon Hayward's camp and vice versa because of the fact that Jaylen Brown ended up growing past Gordon Hayward and became that third option. And
cultural appropriation. That's what it is.
Nice. Gordon Hayward was relegated to the 4th star on that team, and he was signed for the money that he was to maybe be the 2 and not even end up being the 3. But anyway, the point is, to your question, is he a good guy? He never complained once. Never made any sort of reference toward his unhappiness or his discontent with the team and his position and his role within it. So yes, Gordon Hayward, stand-up guy, great guy. Wish you nothing but the best in Charlotte. Have fun with LaMelo and that just really weird franchise assortment of talent.
Gordon wasn't a stand-up guy when he snapped his leg.
Nice. Did you want to throw a Shaquem Griffin joke in there while you're at it?
Well,
that's kind of role you're on right now.
when we first drafted him in the preseason, I was watching. Speaking of Geiger, I was watching the Seahawks preseason game with Shaquem Griffin at when he first was making his first appearance in the preseason.
He had a pretty good first appearance too, didn't he?
He had a
really
really good
like
appearance. And he took a video of me and he zoomed in on his arm and went back to me and I said, "You got to hand it to him. He's played pretty well." And that video will just forever live.
That's really clever. I'm actually surprised you were able to make that up yourself.
That's not very nice.
Ooh.
So I just got roasted by a buddy who just texted me saying, "Nice hard part with your hair."
What?
He said, "Nice hard part."
It's a comb over. How old are you? You're 25. That's probably what your hair should look like.
Well, what's really unfortunate?
You're an adult.
So I just got a haircut today.
Yeah, you did. It's a nice haircut.
It's like they do their thing. I'm not gonna go home and adjust it myself. This is what they view me as. So I just got roasted while I'm sitting here.
Well, what are friends for?
He didn't have the balls to comment on the Facebook page. So that's the big thing. Because he's obviously watching, and yet he's just had to text me and tell me that. So that's pretty soft. I'll call him out. I don't care. Yeah, so I guess Phil Jackson and his problematic use of the word posse.
Oh, that's what it was. It was a Phil thing, yeah. I think he was talking about LeBron, though, if I'm not mistaken.
About LeBron and his business partners and crew as his posse. I guess I've never heard that. People smeared it as a stay-in-your-place remark. What? I get some of the things. Don't get me wrong. I definitely understand that. But, the definition of posse is a body of men typically armed, summoned by a sheriff to enforce the law.
Oh.
A group of people who have a common characteristic, occupation, or purpose. I just don't see it. Someone else can educate me on that. I don't care. I guess I don't use the word posse anyway, so we'll just move on from there.
If Summer's watching, she'll probably say something.
Then I'd like to be educated. I'm an educated guy. I could use some more education. You never know.
Open to being educated.
And let's see. We have some Zags. Oh wait, are you done with NBA?
That's pretty much.
The NBA is going to be really interesting next year. I think Lakers are going to win it all again.
Probably.
There's no one in their way as long as LeBron stays healthy.
Nope.
And so let's talk Zags. Zags are back tomorrow, Thanksgiving morning, about 3 weeks later than usual. They usually play their first game of the season, the first week or so of November. So we're here in the final week of November, and here we are. Zags play their most stiff competition that they've had in the last decade as far as their first team. Usually they play a cupcake. Usually they play Texas Southern or Appalachian State or Eastern Washington. That's a little bit of a hit there. But they're actually playing are they 4? Is Kansas 4 right now? They're playing Kansas.
I think they're 6.
They're playing top 6 Kansas tomorrow at the Fort Myers, Florida for a tournament, and that's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be really cool to see the Zags go up against a top-tier opponent like that, especially after so many years where the Zags have struggled to get top 10 talent to play them. They haven't had a problem getting the St. Mary's. Obviously, they're in their own conference. They get other top teams, but they've had big games against North Carolina in the past, recent past, and they get Kansas tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. on Fox. I don't know where they're playing. I think it's on Fox. Then they play on Friday at 8 a.m. They play Auburn. That's an early game. You going to be up for that?
No.
Oh.
I probably will. I'll just be watching other things.
So, they're on Fox tomorrow at 10:30 against, the 6th-ranked Jayhawks. Let's go over a little bit of their schedule. Vinny, do you want to pull up that schedule for us, please, sir? It's been in constant flux, and this is what we got so far. So the Kansas game tomorrow on Fox, then Auburn on Fox, and then the week after that they have the Jimmy V Classic, which includes GU. It was Tennessee as of yesterday. They had to drop out because of COVID issues. So instead, the Zags will play West Virginia, who are ranked as well. Auburn is unranked. West Virginia sits at 16, I want to say. And then they play second-ranked Baylor at the day after that. So that's a really good start. Then they have some cupcakes again, like they always do. And then they play Iowa, number 5th-ranked Iowa, on December 19th at 9 a.m. And then after that, it's all their normal kind of soft non-conference games. And then they get into the conference schedule. And the conference schedule is interesting. BYU will be good as usual. St. Mary's will be good as usual. But Pepperdine actually has a Player of the Year candidate in Colby Ross, who is going to be a stud. But that's their schedule so far. That is definitely subject to change. There's obviously a lot of TBAs on there as far as the time and the channel, because nobody really knows what's going to happen. College football we've seen has had a lot of issues with COVID-related stuff. Nick Saban was just tested positive again today. And so they have the Iron Bowl coming up here in, I think, 13 days or something like that, 12 days.
It's this weekend.
Is the Iron Bowl this weekend?
It's supposed to be.
I thought it was next weekend. They could have moved it. While you're looking, speaking of bowls, too, since we're talking about college football, the Apple Cup's getting canceled for the first time since World War II. They do have a chance to reschedule it in the middle of December, but it is canceled as of now. But going back to the Zags, one thing I do want to talk about is the fact that this team is absolutely stacked. I mean, just more stacked than they've ever been. Their bench is going to run, depending on red shirts. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 players, and probably 13 of them are like top talent. You're going to play, not the non-walk-on players. So my projected starting lineup for the Zags this year, it could be anything. It's going to be different. I already know I'm going to be wrong. But my guess is it's Yayi at the 1 because he played some 1 last year, and he actually played pretty well running the offense. Jalen Suggs will be the 2 because he has to play. He's a top 10 recruit. He'll be a top 10. He'll be a lottery pick in the NBA next year. Corey Kissbert, the only true senior on the roster who's a 4-year Zag, which is what we're used to with Zags. Most of the time, Zags stay a long time, but they've gotten such good recruits.
I was going to say, within the last few years, some of the most iconic and favorite Zags, have only been there for a year or 2 tops.
They are just, they're not interested in staying much longer because millions of dollars tend to make players leave school early. Watson at the 4, the prep kid who got hurt with his shoulder, and then Drew Timme, the Texan, rounding out at in the 5 spot.
Okay. What are the odds that this season is disappointing? Is there a feasible chance that you are underwhelmed or that they're not as good just based on the pure accumulation of talent that they have?
0.5%.
0.5. Okay. So not great odds.
Not great odds.
Okay.
If they don't make the Elite 8, Mark Few would never lose his job. But if they don't make the Elite 8, people might be rioting in the streets.
Okay, with that being said, which one of the teams in the past 10 years has broken your heart the most? Is it the 17 team because it got so close? Is it the 19 team losing to Texas Tech?
The team, those are both really bad.
Or the team that lost to Wichita State that had Kelly Olynyk?
That one hurt. That one stung. I think as far as both my disappointment and the team's disappointment, it had to be just last year's team. The fact that they didn't even get an opportunity, I think, stings most Spokane Zag fans. I have most Zag fans across the world, I guess. But that one really hurts. The Texas Tech one was brutal, mainly because the national championship and the loss against Texas Tech were the worst for me personally because I was there. And being a kid in college, actually I guess I wasn't for the Texas Tech game, but being a reporter and not being super experienced, having to go up and put a microphone in someone's face essentially and ask them questions about your career being over. Josh Perkins against Texas Tech.
Right, and of course he had a critical mistake late in the game
late
too.
In the game. Brandon Clark last game. Rui last game. There's a lot of guys who left after that. And in 17, Zach Collins' last game, Shema Karnowski's last game, and Jonathan Williams and Nigel Williams-Goss, and all of these guys who made those teams great. So every time the Zags lose, it's heartbreaking just because of the fact it's not like pros. In the pros, you can sign a new contract if it's your last year. In college, when you're done, you're done. And if you're already expecting to go to the NBA, you're done, even if you're not a senior. So I think the most heartbreaking, though, has to be just last year when they weren't even given an opportunity because people across Spokane were just devastated. I mean, I've talked with so many people just in passing. I mentioned I cover the Zags for the Spokesman and things like that. They're like, oh, we love the Zags. And it's like, well, what do you think about last year and how they didn't even get a play? And they were like, that was one of the some of the worst news we've received because of COVID. And yeah, they're true. Destroyed the local economy. They didn't get an opportunity to win. And they were one of probably 5 teams who had the talent to win. So this year, my guess to best case, worst case, if we're going to do that. My best case scenario is national championship. They win it. Okay. Awesome. Worst case, let's say the team doesn't gel because of all the offseason issues. They have too many turnovers because they play so fast. Worst case is Elite 8. It has to be. Wow. It really has to be because of the amount of talent that they have garnered on this roster, from Jalen Suggs to Corey Kissbert to Anton Watson to the tricky trio itself with Dominic Harris and Julian Strother. This team is perfectly aligned to make it all the way because Duke, North Carolina, they're not really involved. They're not top-tier powerhouses again. Baylor's at number 2. Iowa's in the top 10. There's a lot of teams here who aren't really the Blue Bloods. Kentucky's still hanging around as usual. Kansas is at number 6, obviously, so they're still hanging around. But this is another great opportunity for the Zags to make some noise. I'm excited. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. And now you're going to have to be forced to watch them more since we're
I know.
all the time.
We'll see how that goes for me.
It is good, though, because then you do get, since the Zags are playing so many top-tier teams, you'll see a lot of NBA
It's true.
players.
Yeah, no, it will ultimately be a good thing. Okay, so also curiosity, out of all of your fandoms, what is the hierarchy?
So I was thinking, that's really interesting. I literally was walking at my door today, and I was thinking, what is the highest? I think
what matters the most to you?
Seahawks matter the most to me, probably. Okay. That's just because I think football is the most exciting sport.
You don't really have to talk.
I think that's literally the only reason why. As far as connections go, I'm connected more with the Zags because I interview them. I see them face to face. So I'm more personally connected to them. Seahawks losses do more to my self-esteem and personality.
Okay.
Just in general, if the Zags lose, they lose. They're going to make the NCAA tournament. They're going to make a big run. The Seahawks lose. Plus, the Zags play 37 games a year. The Seahawks play, if they win the Super Bowl, they play 19.
Exactly. Well, that's one of the things about football.
Yeah.
That's why it'll always reign supreme.
It's really hard.
Week in, week out, you can't replace the importance of a single game.
I'd probably put the Sounders at 3, though.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I'd probably put the Mariners last at this moment.
Wow.
Mariners, if they continue to grow the way that they have, they move up to number 3 because I just have more history with them. I've only been a soccer fan for 10 years. I've been a baseball fan since I was born. When just through the continuous heartbreak, I think it's kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
Okay, and then my final question for you is, who is your favorite Zag of all time, and why is it Ryan Edwards?
Ryan Edwards. Ryan Edwards is Ryan Edwards had such a weird career at GU.
Weren't people actually excited about him for a hot second? Or
a little bit, just because of his size.
Incorrectly
a little bit because of his size. There's been a lot of guys on the Zags who have garnered a lot of excitement who haven't done anything.
I'm sure he's a nice guy, and I'm not trying to say anything about him personally, but when he would get on the floor in those blowout games, I'm not sure if he knew how to put one foot in front of the other.
No, he was so unathletic, and he had
uncoordinated.
no coordination skills at all.
I loved him, though. He was awesome.
There's actually a couple funny stories, one that I kind of want to point out. Speaking of just past Zag players, I saw Josh Perkins once down 13 tequila shots at Scotty's.
I would interact with them when I worked at the AMC downtown. They would come in, and most of them were really nice. Josh Perkins in particular, he was always very polite, very appreciative. Zach Collins had to duck under the ceiling where the slushy machine was, which was always comical.
Funny.
Shimmick always looked like he was about to fall over. He literally walked like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. I was always like, dude, are you good?
It's his weak back that he has.
Oh, that would make sense.
I don't
know. Do you have any insight? I've heard things. I've also seen a couple things. But Kyle Dranginis as a person.
I heard he sucks.
Yeah, me too. Okay, I just want to make sure.
I heard Kyle Dranginis was the absolute worst.
Yeah, he's kind of a prick.
It's really funny because I have both the journalistic side and the commentary side with this when it comes to the Zags. But I went to school with a lot of these guys.
That was another question I was going to ask you. What is that like? Because I know that because I have friends that are in circles that know a lot of these guys and have interacted with them. And so I hear things and I'm like, well, these guys are my age. Like they're contemporaries in a way just because of being a college student.
Yeah, it's really
weird. Makes you look at them in so I'm
very
curious to hear from you because
views.
you have the journalistic side as well.
So that's where in 2017 it was really odd because I was in classes. I had Zach Collins and Zach Norvell and
I miss Norvell.
Yeah, Norvell, we completely forgot talking about him too. And Jack Beach in a beginning sports management class. And Zach Collins, I had already known him before because I watched him take pulls out of Fireball out at a 4th of July party.
Let's go.
Out on Ponderay River. So that was pretty funny because I had already kind of known him, but he came out and he was of course not 21, but nobody has to tell. Whoops, that one came out. So he actually sat behind me, and it's really funny because he's 7'1", and the way he doesn't fit at these desks at all. So he's all laid back and trying.
Did he have his legs just
out.
strung out over your shoulders?
Yeah, pretty much, just right on.
You guys were really cool, really casual.
We were really, really close. So that one was interesting. Then I also had Silas Melson and Josh Perkins together in a journalism class, and that was wild because those two guys played off each other so much. I mean, they were starting guards next to each other,
right?
And so that was really funny. You could tell they got a little bit of special treatment. Not a lot, but a little.
What
they
do
have
you
to,
expect?
They have to.
That's
And that's
the
why,
case in D1 sports,
Exactly.
especially football and basketball, that really make the money for the universities across the nation. Let's not act as if that's that's a secret to anybody.
Yeah, I mean they have to. Plus the fact that they travel so much too. Like they were especially during basketball season. They just weren't there sometimes, like for weeks on end.
Right.
And we all knew why, and we all supported them. We're all like, sweet, like that's why they're not here because they're playing so well. But yeah, it is really interesting because you get such a personal view of these guys, and most of them, like I said, are really good guys. The Zags don't really bring in too many bad apples.
Yeah.
Like they actually do have a Zag way. Like they could go after more high-end prospects if they wanted guys who were selfish. So I think that's why Suggs is going to be a really interesting experiment moving forward to see how he actually does acclimate to this team and become
just because of how high of a prospect he is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Zags. That's Zags for
I'm kind of excited to considering that we have to watch the Texans and the Lions open
it's
up
gonna be brutal for the
Thanksgiving
NFL
Day tomorrow. I'm excited to watch the Zags. I am.
Yeah.
And I was I didn't get into them last year, and the years that I have gotten into them, it's a lot of freaking fun, especially that 2015 team. That was another disappointment, losing to the Elite Eight against Duke, and I think it was Wiltshire that was on that team, and I think that was Pangos last year. I could be wrong, but no, I'm excited too. I am excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be a really fun season, so keep an eye out. Also for my stuff on the Spokesman, if I have an ability to actually write more with stuff actually happening. So we'll see. But yeah, 10:30 tomorrow morning is tip-off against Kansas, and we'll see what happens. All right. Well, I think I have someone else I want to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that whole time you said that Lucky Bird was like my favorite sponsor?
I know
one
they're
of my
my
two
favorite
favorites.
sponsor.
One of my two favorites. My other one is Lake City Hauling.
Oh, really?
Ever heard of them?
Haven't.
Oh, well, let me tell you about them.
Tell me more.
Are you working on a remodeling or a cleanup project? Well, if you are, let Lake City Hauling help. Save yourself a stressful trip to the dump by letting them haul all of these small and big items for you. They will remove it all. They'll take your unwanted trash, branches, yard waste, furniture, appliances, and everything else that you have laying around your house that shouldn't be there anymore. I'm looking at you hoarders. Get rid of it. They offer same-day pickup, and check out their 5-star reviews on Google and see why customers continue to go back for more of Lake City Hauling. They're all about that action. They offer junk removal, dumpster rentals, and demolition in the Cooney County and Spokane area. If you are outside of those areas, feel free to give them a call at 208-425-4130. I'm sure they can work out a deal because they love to help people and they love to haul your junk away. Big junk haulers.
Big junk haulers.
Big junk haulers. So keep them in mind for your next demolition or cleanup projects. Again, their number is 208-425-4130, and that website you just saw is lakecityhauling.com.
Awesome.
I love them.
I love them too.
If I had a project, Vinny should have called them when he had to get his oh no, he was actually moving stuff. They're not a moving company.
I don't know. I heard Vinny didn't actually need help moving.
He got well, they do moving. All right. If you need help moving, Lake City Hauling will haul away your not junk. In case you were
very
curious.
well said. All right.
Very well and fluent. All right, NFL. We have all sorts of stuff going on with the NFL. We do have a comment here.
Oh dear.
Oh, it's Scotty's doghouse. I said tap house. My buddy Scotty, makes sense, did point that out. It's Scotty's doghouse. Rest in peace. R.I.P. They're gone. He actually cut his finger there on his 21st birthday.
Did he?
Like, bad. I have photos and videos, like, literally, like, he slashed his finger open and, like, blood was all over. I wasn't 21 yet, so I was across the street at the gas station and hanging out. We were just outside. And then one of my friends, Geiger, again, comes running across the street, blood all over him, saying, "We have to go." And I was like, Jesus, did you guys kill somebody in there? Ends up our buddy was blacked out and had to get...
Plus a 21 run without a tragic injury.
He had to go to the hospital, woke up the next day, and had no idea what happened.
Perfect. That's the best way to do it.
It was a good time. All right, back to the NFL. You mentioned how terrible the games are going to be tomorrow.
Not good.
Not good. That's because the Steelers and the Ravens rescheduled the Sunday. Ravens have had 9 positive COVID tests. As of yesterday, they had their facility closed, and we'll see if that happens. They had to reschedule with those. So that makes the Thanksgiving Day slate garbage. Such garbage that Lake City Hauling would haul it.
Yeah, they should haul it. Actually, we should call them up, see if they can undertake this project that the NFL has, this predicament that they found themselves in. You know, after looking at Twitter and all the Steelers players, Eric Ebron, Chase Claypool, Smith-Schuster, they're coming out, they're pissed. They're like, all right, we've already gotten our bye week taken away from us by the NFL, and now our primetime Thanksgiving game has been taken away by the NFL. Like, up the NFL's like, how could you do this? This is BS and everything. It's like, okay, yeah, I understand the frustration, and you have been shafted worse than any other team. Just coincidentally, and that is unfortunate. However, one thing, this is not the season that is going to uphold fairness and equality at the top. It's just not. We all knew that going into the season. I'm sorry that you guys have been at the bottom of the heap in that regard. That does suck. But why don't you point your anger, emotion, and disgruntlement toward the teams that you were supposed to face that have just lost control and handle of their locker rooms.
And there's multiple of them, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Across the NFL that not even just the Steelers have played. But
the Seahawks are the only team to date that have not had a positive COVID test or had to put somebody on the injured/COVID.
They only had
the
one that ended up being a negative was John Ursura before the season.
I was going to say that was during training camp. Yeah.
It's actually super impressive, and I think it also goes to show that the Seahawks have such a strong leadership background.
Yeah.
Where they allow players to be themselves, but when it comes down to it, they want to win.
Well, also I think it helps being in the state of Washington and knowing that Washington
we're already shut down anyway. There's nothing else to do.
Well, yeah, and especially on the west side of the state, is taken very seriously. So I think that also plays a role in it as well. But I was just like, I was looking at all the tweets and I'm like, okay, I understand the emotion. I would be pissed too. That's stupid, but like, get mad at the Ravens. Don't get mad at the NFL. The NFL is going to keep this thing chugging along. We've known this.
Devlin Hodges, who's the third string quarterback, because Mason Rudolph still should be number 2. He said, "Man, that's some BS."
Damn.
He's the third string quarterback. Get off Twitter, man.
Those are harsh words.
They also Eric Ebron said it was BS. Chase Claypool said it was such a joke, and then Juju said, you take away our bye week. Now they're take away our Thanksgiving. This is the classic example of people blaming people for things that are outside of their control. You know
what also pisses me off too, this coming from the players, is that Mike Tomlin is not that kind of guy. When they lost their bye week, he's like, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We're not thinking about it. Doesn't matter. We're doing what we got to do. And so I know that if somebody were to ask him about this, I'm sure he would say something along the lines of, doesn't matter. We're going to play on Sunday. We're gearing up for Sunday. We're going to play. Doesn't matter. Doesn't affect us. We can't worry about it. That's how you should approach it.
This is like, honestly, and people might have a different opinion on this, but this is like blaming the government for COVID issues. It's like, we're our individual selves, right? Like we can either choose to or to not wear a mask.
Right.
Like they're making the NFL out to be the people who are causing these COVID incidents.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's the NFL's fault that the Ravens facility had to be shut down for the last 2 days and they have 9 positive confirmed tests. And it's like, that's not their fault. Like your anger, like you said, your anger is going out at the wrong people. It should be toward the Ravens, the Raiders, all these other teams who've had problems.
It's the whole concept of, like, let's not hold individuals responsible for their actions.
God, no, we can't do that.
Let's instead blame society.
Let's blame society, not individual. We in America aren't individualistic at all. We can't. We have no freedoms. It's not our fault, ever.
We're not materialistic either.
It's brutal. So that is unfortunate because tomorrow's slate looks terrible now.
Brutal.
With obviously the Cowboys continuing to get these Thanksgiving Day games. They play in the afternoon slate against the Washington football team. Terrible. And then the morning to kick off Thanksgiving, this happens an hour before the Zags tip off. We have, which is actually the better of the two, we have the Houston Texans at the Detroit Lions. Again, the Lions also continuously. You have something to say over there?
No. I just got it. No. Ooh.
I think you do.
So unless you're gambling on these games, I don't know why you'd watch them. Actually, with that being said, it just dawned on me. I don't know why I didn't think of this because it's right in my face. It's obvious with the NFC East, but it's 2, 3, and 7 teams. They're vying for the top seed. No, it actually is a game of importance. And Dallas actually looked fun last week.
They looked solid.
They looked good. Andy Dalton looked good. I mean, it's not really anything to brag about against the Vikings defense, but I don't know. It could be interesting. Good to see Alex Smith. Good, nice Thanksgiving, wholesome story. Him continuing to lead the charge, and he got his first win as a starter since he had broken his leg last week against the Cincinnati Bengals. Who do you think the 5 best teams in the NFL are?
Yeah, we'll fly through this real quick. So I have the Chiefs actually at 1.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have the Steelers at 1. I just don't trust their offense to be a consistent threat to some of the top defenses in the league. But that defense is nasty for the Steelers. Kind of the reverse, actually, for the Chiefs. Chiefs have an amazing offense that nobody seems to be able to slow down, especially now that they're rolling. They had some struggles early on. Then I actually have the Saints at 3. Mainly because they looked really good with a backup quarterback. That's because their defense is waking up. Michael Thomas is back, healthy it looks like. It's only a matter of time before Drew Brees gets back, and that team should be just fine. Then I have the Bills at 4, mainly because they've done such a good job at answering some of these critics. They took care of the Seahawks, and The 4 and 5, the 4 to probably 8 range can be anybody in my opinion. I put the Seahawks at 5 because I'm a homer. But if that defense does figure it out and become just the league average, that's one of the top teams in the league. But
Yeah,
I would not have an issue with the Rams slotting up in that area. Right now,
there's a lot of 7-3, 6-4 teams, and like good 6-4 teams. Even though the record isn't as pretty.
Arizona could be not quite top 5, but in that 6 to 8, 9 range. Tennessee could maybe be in there.
You could put the Colts in there as well.
Colts could be in there. Obviously, Tampa can definitely be in there. Packers also can be in there, and they're probably some of those teams will be in your top 5. But there are so many teams. That's the nice thing about this year. Both the Chiefs and the Steelers, who are probably considered the 1 and 2 best teams, aren't unbeatable. Even though the Steelers technically are unbeatable, they haven't lost yet. But there's a lot of stuff going on in the league right now.
Yeah, I think the top 3 are pretty easy. We have it the same. I have the Chiefs, I have the Steelers, I have the Saints. The Saints, it's one of those things where I got to eat it. Like, I'm fine admitting when I was wrong. I did it with Dalvin Cook. I will do it right here, right now for Vinny and other Saints fans. But the Saints have got it, man. They looked awful at the beginning of the season. I just took for granted how well coached they are, how much of a genius and a guru that Sean Payton is. Their defense is what's really changed over the past few weeks, is rounding into form and looking like the Saints defense that we would recognize from a couple years prior. And so they're just a complete team. And so you don't need to have Taysom Hill go out there and light up the world. You need him to manage the game, maybe connect on a few deep shots. He had that one ball that he underthrew by like 10 yards, but he like perfectly did it so that the wide receiver could just stop and run back to the ball. And the defensive back's like, what the hell is even going on? That wasn't even in the same zip code. But so they really don't need a ton from Taysom. And then he's also still electric when they're using him on draws or end arounds or just
2 rushing touchdowns.
Exactly. Also, that dude is fast as hell. He's a brick house, man. He's an impressive specimen. But, so I think the Saints are looking scary. They're the best team in the NFC right now. I have the Rams at 4. Their defense has just gotten back on track after a very down year last year. Brandon Staley has done an incredible job there.
First-year guy.
Yeah, but, I mean, there is such an assortment of talent on that defense, so it really shouldn't be that surprising when you have the best cornerback in the game and you have the best defensive player in the game and best defensive lineman without question in Aaron Donald. And then I put the Packers in there, and I know that they're coming off a really bizarre loss in Indianapolis. That was a really seesaw back-and-forth game. That was really weird. The thing is, I just trust Rodgers, and and if Marquez Valdez-Scantling, I think that was the one that fumbled the ball at the end. If he doesn't fumble that, I have reason to believe that they would have driven down the field, probably scored a touchdown, and won the game. Who knows? We'll never know if that actually would have been the case or not.
Happy they lost, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm
for the rest of the NFC.
Thank you,
Seahawks
Philip, for shot putting your way to an overtime victory. But I put the Packers there just because I trust that offense. I trust that offense in any situation, in any field position as well. There are some offenses like the Colts that if they get a turnover and they get the ball at the 30 or the 40 or the opponent's 30 or the 40, that's good. That's business for them. But there aren't a ton of offenses that can get the ball, at their own 10-yard line and drive the length of the field. They're explosive, and I trust that, and maybe their defense gets better. But, yeah, like you said, that fifth spot, I thought about putting the Seahawks there. I thought about putting the Titans there. It's really, who cares?
Toss-up for
there are 3 actually really good teams. I think it's the Saints, Steelers, and Chiefs right now.
Yeah. We're going to skip talking more in depth about the Seahawks. They have real quick, I guess, just in general.
Skip?
Yeah, we'll get to them in the picks and talk about it a little bit. But they had a really nice game against the Cardinals this last Thursday. Nice. Really pumped about that. I know that defensive stop at the end of the game was really big. I was telling everybody that is probably one of the largest series of the season, just to increase the defenses, both their momentum but also their confidence and their ability to stop a top offense like the Cardinals. Offense got on track in terms of keeping their run-pass mixture a little bit closer together than it has all season. And special teams, which has been good all year, continued to look good again, even though I think Myers did miss a PAT, his second of the season. But it is what it is. Seahawks win. That's awesome. Let's move on to some picks.
Yeah. How'd you do last week, bud?
Well, same as you.
Yeah.
Bad.
I come into the studio this morning and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to get this out of the way. I'm going to take my hazing, my heckling from Justin because I went 7-7.
I made fun of him. I was like, what a loser. What an idiot.
And then as he's sitting there tallying his picks up, because he doesn't do it proactively or on time, he's going through and he's like,
7-7 too.
I'm 5-5 right now. 5-6. And we end at 7-7.
And here we are with the same record, even though we had different game picks. So that's actually very weird. So
I've had my worst week of the entire season, which is saying something because I've had some pretty bad weeks in comparison to some of your better ones. But I also went I only lost 2 games 1 week. Anyway, I didn't lose any ground. I'm still only 1 game back.
I'm still in the lead.
That is the only important thing.
10th week in a row.
I'm feeling good about this week, though.
You shouldn't.
Okay, sick.
I'm expecting a. Let's see, because there's no teams on bye, so I'm expecting a 6-10.
6-10. Ouch.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's start off. Thanksgiving morning.
Thanksgiving morning. Houston at the Lions.
I'm going to be drinking for this game. I realize that's what I'm going to do.
It might be the only way to get you through it.
Yep. I don't know what to think about the Lions because they got shut out by the Panthers team that does not have a great defense, and they had Matt Stafford, and the Carolina Panthers also tried out P.J. Walker. To his credit, had a great game. Former XFL star, standout, got signed by the Panthers in the offseason. Good on you, P.J. And Matt Patricia showed up, and he's like, hey, I have a pencil that I don't actually write anything with in my ear. So I'm going to go with the Texans because they also had a pretty good win last week, and nobody was expecting them to do anything close to that, including myself and you. Are they playing for Romeo Crennel? I don't know. Deshaun Watson was, looked better and more.
He's looking a lot better the last couple weeks.
Looked like himself in the Deshaun Watson that we've come to know and expect from him, even on this abysmal Texans team. So I'm kind of feeling the Texans, and I don't think Detroit ever wins any of their Thanksgiving games. I think they're notoriously awful on Thanksgiving. I'm just pulling that out of my ass. I don't know if that's actually the case or not.
Well, the Lions, they put up a nice fat goose egg on Sunday, the first time that Stafford has ever been shut out in the NFL. So that was kind of surprising. I'm going to pick Houston. Deshaun Watson has looked really good. That defense is actually not giving up everything like they did at the beginning of the season. So I'm going to pick Houston on that one. Then we have the Washington football team at the Dallas Cowboys. At home in AT&T Stadium for the Cowboys.
I'm going to pick the Cowboys. They're going to lose just because of the fact that I'm picking them. But Andy Dalton looked good last week.
Washington.
Okay. The Cowboys just have more talent. And it's like, all right, the whole watermelon smashing thing that Mike McCarthy did during the week that got all the defensive players for the Cowboys fired up. Apparently it worked against, a Vikings team that was at that point playing a lot better than the Cowboys were. So I'm going to ride the hot hand and Andy Dalton, and that's all I got.
Baltimore at Pittsburgh.
Steelers
as well.
Baltimore is in free fall right now.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about the Steelers. Baltimore's having a lot of issues. Lamar Jackson looks bad.
Yeah, well, the offense
looks bad in general. They can't get anything going, and that defense has not been able to keep them
Also, they
engaged.
had a weird petty beef before and after the game. John Harbaugh was getting mad because
he's the head coach.
They were standing on the logo in the middle of the field,
soft.
And Malcolm Butler didn't even understand why Harbaugh was upset. He wasn't doing it to mock him or to flex on him or anything like
Harbaugh.
that. I know, and he was supposed to be the more respected and level-headed of the two brothers. And then he refused to shake Vrabel's hand after the game, and I'm just glad that the Titans won that game. And, Baltimore, sucks for you.
Yep, I am also going to go with the Steelers if I didn't already say that. Las Vegas at the Falcons.
I feel like this is a trap game for Las Vegas, but I'm going to pick them anyway. Because this is a game that they should win. And then they play the Jets the week after. Those are two very winnable games that they need to stay relevant in that AFC playoff picture. And it scares me, but I'm going to put my faith in Carr and Gruden.
Yeah, me too. I think they'll actually play pretty well. This should be a decently high-scoring game, I'd guess.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe.
I think so. Chargers at the Bills.
This hurts. I want to go with the Chargers just because I'm like a born-again Chargers fan, which I never thought I would be.
You're so sad that they made fun of Herbert so much last week.
I am, yeah. And what did he do? He went out and balled and threw like one of the sickest passes I've seen all season.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with the Bills.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Bills too. They're just a better team.
West Coast, rookie, quarterback, going east.
Best of luck. Giants at the Bengals. This would have been much easier to pick, in my opinion, before.
Okay, wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like it's easier to pick now. If the Giants don't win this game, just stop playing for the rest of the season. There is no reason you should lose this game.
$16 tickets if you want to go.
Ooh, yeah?
You want to fly to
Little
Cincinnati?
Thanksgiving plan, yeah?
Never
Thanksgiving
would I ever
weekend.
Want to fly to Cincinnati. Sounds terrible.
Skyline chili, baby.
So, yeah, I'm going to pick the Giants as well. Then we have the Titans at the Colts.
I don't think that the Titans are going to drop both their games to the Colts this year. I'm going to go with the Titans.
I also don't think so. But I think so enough.
Ooh.
Colts are coming off a pretty exhausting win.
Exhausting and lucky win.
Yeah.
Which
Titans need
doesn't
this game
usually
more.
translate well to the next week.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Titans. Then we have the Panthers at the Vikings, and this Panthers team without McCaffrey again.
I don't know. This one's tough. I don't know.
I'm going to go with the Vikings.
Okay, cool. I'm also going the Vikings.
All right, well, that was worthless. Vikings have looked better. They should have probably won.
Cool.
Arizona at the Patriots.
So I think unless Belichick gets, his control in hand on the weather and, generates a monsoon, I think that the Cardinals should and will win this game. I think they're going to score too many points. Cam Newton can't really throw the ball. The Patriots are in run first and run only mode anyway. And, yeah, I think the Cardinals are the safe pick.
Yeah, I agree. I will also take the Cardinals. They need to make a statement coming back off of a loss from Seattle. And then we have the Dolphins at the Jets. I still like the Dolphins. They still played a pretty good game. I'm going to go with the Dolphins again.
Yeah, Dolphins. Yeah, It's the Jets.
Cleveland at the Jags. Jags will be starting their third quarterback of the season. Not Minshew and not Jake Luton.
Mike Neck Glennon.
He does have a long neck.
Big neck guy.
Big neck
guy.
Guy. Okay, dude. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So
No. You go ahead. No, it's really fine.
Well, I have something.
No. Really, go ahead. It's all you.
I want to share something that I heard on a podcast this week that literally made me start laughing aloud while I was in the middle of a run, and that was Nora Princiotti of the Ringer NFL. She's a writer for the Ringer podcast network.
What's her
She
name?
also writes Nora Princiotti.
Never heard of her.
Okay, she's awesome. Anyway, so she said something that was so true, so relevant, and she couldn't. She didn't spare any words. It was just clean as hell. And she said, "As a society, we've progressed beyond the need for Baker Mayfield." And I was like, "Damn, that could not be more true. I could not agree with that more." And yeah, who cares? But Browns.
So was she saying that we've grown up?
Basically, she was just talking about the fact that, we're talking about all these exciting young QBs across the league, and then every time we
don't need Baker
talking
anymore.
about that, we don't need him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We love the Browns' defense. We love their running attack. We love their coaching. Baker, irrelevant.
My buddy Tim is the kind of guy who's a big Baker and Manziel guy.
Yeah.
So if that doesn't,
yeah.
you know what kind of person that is.
Yeah. Gross.
But that's fine. So, yeah, I'm also going to pick the Browns. The Jags on their third quarterback will not do very well. Then we have the Saints at the Broncos. Saints will win this game even with their backup quarterback.
All right, so I'm going to do a thing this week. I'm going to not pick against the Saints.
You're going to pick Drew Lock and the Broncos.
No, I'm not. I'm picking Taysom Hill and those boys down in Weedem.
I thought you just said you're not picking the Saints.
No, I said I'm.
Oh, what you usually don't do.
Right, yes.
Okay, that was pretty confusing. You're only doing that because Vinny's sitting back there all upset that you don't usually pick the Saints.
If you actually just listen to what I'm saying, it's really not that difficult to follow along.
No, it is that difficult to follow along.
I'm
going to pick the Saints as well. Niners at the Rams. I wish the Niners would win,
it would
but
be so cool.
I don't think they're going to.
It would be so cool. It would be so nice. Yeah, the Rams are cooking right now. The Rams look good. Rams.
Yeah, Rams too. Mostert is back for the Niners. They are getting a little bit more healthy, but not healthy enough. Then the Chiefs at the Bucks, which might be one of the best games, probably the best game of the week, in theory. They are playing. It looks like the CBS. They'll get Romo on the broadcast.
Oh yeah.
It'll be CBS's game of the week. I picked the Chiefs on this one. The Bucks. The problem with the Bucks is, and Brady specifically, is they just struggle to pass the ball vertically. And if their offense can't, if their wide receivers and their linebackers can't do it for Brady at his age can't do it himself. Yes. And I think the Chiefs are too high-flying of an offense, even against a pretty solid, sturdy Tampa defense. The Chiefs will figure it out by the right amount of time.
Okay, so Tampa's definitely going to be able to move the ball more
theory,
easily against the Chiefs than they were on Monday night against the Rams. I'm actually going to go with the Bucs. This is my one upset, off the radar pick that I'm going with this week. I think the Chiefs had an exhausting week. A lot of emotions involved, wanting to get back at the Raiders, wanting to kick the piss out of them because the Raiders had the whole busgate and celebrating over the top and boisterously, which didn't sit well with one particular Andy Reid. And then they got pushed to the brink by the Raiders and easily could have ended up losing that game, but Patrick Mahomes did his Patrick Mahomes thing, and Travis Kelce was wide open in the end zone. So when you put those two things together, that equates to a last-minute win.
All right.
And I don't think the Bucs can't afford to lose another game. If they fall to 7-5, I mean, the division is already kind of out of the question for the Bucs, but I don't think they can afford to start sliding down that wild card list too. And
then you're competing, not really the Bears, but the Bears, whoever takes second and third in the NFC West, and no one in the NFC East. So, yeah, this is a decently important game. I think it's coming very clear that the teams that will make the playoffs, 3 from the West, 2 from the South, 1 from the North, 1 from the East. But still, it is a big game because the Bears still technically do have a shot.
And Brady and the Bucs just in general have bounced back well this year after not great showings and ugly losses. So I think this might be one of those cases. So I'm going to go with the Bucs.
Yep, that makes sense. That's definitely a toss-up. Nice coin flip on that one. Then we have, speaking of the Bears, at the Packers. Big game for the Bears, but it's at Lambeau. And I just think that Aaron Rodgers and that Green Bay offense is going to be able to figure out the Bears defense. Enough to the point that especially because the Packers defenses look better, Chicago just they literally look like they're blind, like they graduated from the school of the blind, and they're trying to play offense in the NFL.
Yeah. Vinny, can you put the camera on me for this one? Please, God, NFL, Roger Goodell, whoever takes care of the scheduling, now that the Steelers and the Ravens are not playing on Thanksgiving night, can we please, for the love of God, flex out this Green Bay-Chicago game out of the Sunday night spot and put the Ravens and the Steelers in there? I cannot watch the Bears play football. I hate it. Everybody hates it. It's taking a cheese grater to your forehead and then consuming the skin that was just grated off your head. It is the worst. I can't take it. Nobody can take it. Please don't make us take it. Thank you.
2 things. First off, the cheese grater thing was kind of nice because it's like a Packers thing. But second off, they can't. It's too late. They have to give like 3 weeks notice to like flex stuff.
I just don't care. They just
it is really upsetting.
They just canceled the game. The only I understand that like the
just
people
give the
at
game
NBC,
to the Packers.
I understand that
give
the people,
Rodgers 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Aaron Jones a rushing touchdown. Give him the game. The only reason why is because the Packers and Bears have such strong fan bases. That's why they won't flex it out.
Is it at Soldier?
Nope. It's at Lambeau.
Oh, well, either way, they're both historic stadiums and sites. It's the rivalry.
Exactly. And it should be a solid game.
It won't be. It might be, but it won't be.
Actually, do you know what will make it a solid game?
Alcohol.
Yeah. No, is the weather forecast.
Oh, is it going to snow? Or are we going to? Oh, if it snows, I'm down.
Yeah. That's a boring game.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, Packers will win. Then, to wrap up Week 11 in the NFL, we have the Seattle Seahawks, based out of Seattle, Washington.
Whoa. Is that how that works?
Going up against the city of brotherly love, who I heard are full of douchebags, and the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The city whose entire history and fandom of one specific guy is a fictitious man by the name of Rocky Balboa. They literally honor a fake person as like the heart and soul of their city. If that doesn't just scream sadness, I don't know what does. They were just literally asking for anybody to step up and let them just praise them and bow at their feet. Instead, they have Rocky Balboa, who's not real.
Or instead, they have Carson Wentz. They have Ben Simmons. They have Joel Embiid. Oh, they have Bryce Harper.
Oh, wait.
No, all of the Philadelphia, like the Flyers might be the most legitimate franchise that Philadelphia can lay claim to, because all of the other ones have like this pseudo appearance of like they're going to be good, they're going to be relevant, they have all these big names, and all of them suck and ultimately will not contend for anything. So up yours, Philadelphia, for no reason.
Have you seen Bill Burr just roast
Yeah,
Philadelphia.
for like 14 straight
just
minutes.
awesome.
That was
Oh, my
great.
God. It's so awesome. I'm going to pick the Seahawks.
Yeah, I'm actually back on the Seahawks train this weekend. Okay, I actually am slightly optimistic, and it's not so much because of how they played, but because of the fact that they're getting Chris Carson back, which I think his absence has proved to be a much bigger absence than anybody ever gave it credit
We saw
for.
how big Hyde was in that return.
Dude, he was great. Yeah, at least if we have it, one of them, like, I'm not super worried.
We needed a bruiser. That was the big thing. Is DJ Dallas isn't that? Travis Homer isn't that?
No, Ethan Posich is coming back. That'll be great.
Griffin will be back.
Griffin's going to be back. Yeah. This is the only one of those three that I'm not like super stoked to get back because he hasn't played that great this year. I think he's had a long layoff. I don't know if it's going to be easy for him to just like click right back into the flow of things. And honestly, Trey Flowers, as awfully as he's played over the past couple of seasons, he's played relatively well this season, and he did particularly so in that Thursday night game against Arizona. And I want to keep DJ Reed on the field in any way that we can. I don't know who's going to be starting opposite of Shaquille. Lord knows it's not going to be Quentin Dunbar. He's on the injured reserve, and thank God for that. But I don't know.
I'd have to guess it's Trey Flowers. He actually did really good last week against Hopkins. 5 receptions, 52 yards.
Also, the return of Ugo Amadi has actually
Ugo's
been
awesome.
pretty great for our secondary,
awesome.
and I feel like people haven't really talked about that or touched that much on it because we did play a pretty solid defensive game against the Rams 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, well,
we just didn't win the game, so we're not going to talk about the defense because that's just how it works. But yeah, the defense has been playing pretty well the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, they have, and this is an awesome stretch to start. They have the Eagles, Giants, Jets, Washington football team over the next 4 weeks.
Okay, all right, time out. Okay, so if the Seahawks are a legit contender, what will they finish the season with record-wise?
I could see them losing that Rams game again just because we match up so
they can only lose one more game.
To them.
If they lose to any team other than the Rams or the 49ers, whichever one, I could see them beating the Rams and losing the Niners. I could totally see that.
I could see that.
If they lose to the Washington football team, if they lose to the Jets, if they lose to the Giants, if they lose to the Eagles,
that's all bad news.
No, because if you're
they
actually
should blow these
a good
teams
team,
out too.
if you are an elite team in the NFL, what you do against bad teams is more indicative of who you are as a team than maybe your performances against the really good teams. Good teams in the NFL beat and dominate poor teams.
The Seahawks are in a great position actually still to finish the season 13-3. They could wipe the floor with the rest of these teams
if they get their shit right. Yeah.
If they continue to get healthy, they continue to gain confidence and build on this momentum from this Cardinals game, and use these 4 weeks against some of the bottom feeders in the NFL to really just get everything rolling right. They literally are playing 4 of the worst teams in the league over the next 4 weeks before they finish the season off with the Rams and the Niners, which is going to be really obviously important games. But they do play those games at home against the Rams and then in Santa Clara against the Niners. So, yeah, no, that's awesome. We'll see what happens with that. I also, if I didn't say this, will be picking the Seahawks again for the 11th week in a row. They actually haven't done too bad for me, 7-3. It's not too bad.
Yeah, it's not awful.
Not too bad.
I want to pat myself on the back really quickly because I've always talked about this, even going back to last year, and it was on full display on Thursday night. But DK Metcalf, I love you. You're awesome. One of my favorites. I can't stay mad at you for too long, but your hands are garbo.
They need a little bit of work. He does make some really good catches, though, with his hands sometimes.
Sometimes they're usually actually with his forearms and his wrists.
That's the last thing he needs to work on to make him elite. All right, Jabroni. What do you got for me?
Oh, man, this is – I hate this guy. If he didn't play quarterback for my favorite team, I don't know how I would feel about him other than more negatively. But, Vinny, why don't you roll this cringy-ass tape?
You mean Mr. Unlimited.
Yeah.
Hey, babe, so we have our fragrance out, RNC fragrance.
Just drop RNC.
Yeah. And so I want to play a fun game of what you smell like. Okay, so we just have fun. Okay, so I'll start it or you start it?
Go ahead, you go.
Okay, you smell like a nice, spicy chicken sandwich.
Hey, you know how those go. You smell like you about to get pregnant again. Is what you smell like.
You always got to go
you
there.
Keep getting all up close to me like that.
Oh my God.
I don't really know if any additional commentary is necessary. I'm not really a fan of people talking to their face cameras. I have always had an aversion to it because people tend to be cringy as hell and say really stupid things, and I just hate when people open that whole process with, hey guys, it's like, okay, We get it.
I'm going to check
You're
out right
yeah,
now.
oh my
I'm
God.
checking out.
I'm done. But Russell, time after time, finds a way to just kick the cringiness up into another stratosphere. And I guess in that sense, it's commendable. But he and his wife, I hate listening or watching anything that they do. So my jabroni of the week is Mr. Very Limited. But his turning of the ball over has not been limited, let me say that.
It was limited last week.
But also, if you want to go win a Super Bowl for the Seahawks, I wouldn't
you can
be
do
mad
it.
at you.
You can do whatever you want. I don't care. That's literally my reasoning when I see Mr. Unlimited or this or anything else that Russell Wilson does that promotes himself, promotes him and Sierra. It's like
I just don't think
I literally just go like
critique,
this.
especially the
he is for
decisions
me.
that he makes
He
off
is
the
for
field.
me. He is for me. He could literally do anything.
I know, but
he could go O.J. Simpson, Ray Lewis, somebody, and I would just wouldn't even bat an eye.
Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown. Ooh. Is that crossing the line?
Even if I really loved Russell Wilson, those ones I wouldn't be able to do.
Okay,
Darius
cool.
Geis.
Look at you having a
Le'Veon
moral
Bell.
compass.
I have. So if this is my moral compass and like this is where I should be, like I teeter here a lot, but like sometimes it can be like here.
I just love watching that visual demonstration that you just gave us.
I know it's really easy to see. Probably
It was great. Yeah, worked out well.
You want me to give you like an audio version of it so like people understand?
No, just give us your
fair.
jabroni.
That's fair. Give you what? Oh no! What I was gonna say. Now I don't remember.
Perfect.
You screwed me. All right, my jabroni. Heart attacks. Those things suck. They kill people all the time. They killed off the legend, the football or soccer, however, wherever you're from, legend of Argentina.
He kind of killed himself, let's be honest.
Did he?
Dude, are you kidding me? I don't think the things that he did in his youth, not even in his youth, the things that he was doing up until the day that he died, really helped in securing the longevity of his lifespan.
It's a sad day for the Argentines.
It is.
Who lost Diego Maradona. Heart attack. I don't think I didn't have. Oh, I did have a video for this. All right, Vinny, roll the tape. This is one of his greatest goals of all time. And with some awesome audio, I'm sure you will love as well. This was back from 1986. Argentina versus the English. Suck it, English. You lose to Argentina and the United States in everything except soccer. And then the United States beat England. Oh, and here we go. Yeah, that's true. Look at that. Just shreds them. Very Leo Messi, one might say. Lionel Messi probably is the greatest current Argentine player and has been since him. So he died today of a heart attack. He was 60 years old. Sad times for the country of Argentina. But my jabroni is heart attacks. May they not kill as many people next year.
May they never get to Andy Reid.
If they could.
They might. If he wins another Super Bowl, he's going to have another double cheeseburger for his trophy. And, man.
One of my buddies who went to prep, his name's Joe Chapman, he told me that Andy Reid is skinnier than Mike Holmgren. Incorrect. Incorrect.
I haven't seen Mike in a long time.
Well, like at his heyday.
Yeah, no, that's false.
Thank you. All right, my jabroni. Closing time. You're up.
Yeah, pull up this Rodgers thing because, hey, guess what? You know what the media does, especially with Patrick Mahomes? Mahomes makes a really nice throw, really cool throw. He won't look at it. He'll try to do it behind his back. He might put it in his left hand. It's all really cool. It's all really sick. We're all here for it. It's Patrick Mahomes. But guess what the media has done? Every time he makes a throw of that magnitude or that caliber, they say only he can do it. Only he can do it. Only he can do it. And Aaron Rodgers was talking to Pat McAfee this week. He seems to be a weekly guest on that show, which I think is a nice little tandem, a nice little back and forth. And he was talking about, hey, I've been around a long time. I've been doing these things a long time. Don't really get credit for it. Okay, so Pat says, I'm so thankful Patrick Mahomes brought no-look passes into the NFL. And Rodgers sarcastically says, yeah, I know, since none of us have been doing it for a while. There was also a video, which of course was not attached. Sorry, was a little lazy on that. But of Rodgers throwing a no-look pass. It actually may have been in that Colts game. It looked like it was recent. But also, this happens with the sidearm throws and the off-platform and off, with all two of your feet in the air and not touching the ground, and you're just whipping and contorting your torso and everything. Russell Wilson does it. Matthew Stafford, who actually Aaron
Sidearms a
Rodgers
lot.
mentioned as being a guy that never gets credit for any of the crazy throws that he makes, is a guy that does that. Can you think of other people that are really good at throwing the football?
Who consistently do it like that? Kyler Murray does it a little bit.
Kyler Murray can sling it, yeah. Oh, Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert's
does
made
have
some of
some
the
weird
most
ankles.
incredible throws that I've ever seen in my life, all just in these, 6-7 games that he started this year.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert.
Justin Sherbert.
Do you like Herbert? Yeah.
That's probably it. That really stand out. I can't think of anyone else who does it on
Yeah,
a
I'm sure we're
consistent
missing
basis.
somebody.
No, never.
AJ McCarron, that's another one.
Oh, right. His hot girlfriend, hot wife now.
Oh, yeah. Brent Musburger, man, was
Big Brent Musburger guy.
just slobbering over that poor girl.
On national television. That was
Yeah,
awesome.
that was really good.
No, I actually like that. I hate Rodgers mainly, but I thought that was an awesome take. And he's right. He literally
No, he is
100%
right because there are so many, not so many, but we mentioned at least a handful of other quarterbacks that do really impressive things on a week-to-week basis. And maybe the people that are calling their particular game at the time will mention, hey, if they're smart enough and intelligent enough, hey, Patrick Mahomes isn't the only one that can make these type of throws. But, the media gets carried away, as they do, and I'm saying stop. So,
Yep, I agree.
stop.
All right. You closed?
Closed.
All right. We got mine. Roll the tape, Vinny. Here we
We're being so demanding of Vinny.
Here's
today.
Joe Burrow, Rookie of the Year as of Week 10. As of Week 10. Here in Week 10, he is down for the count, and he's very much in pain. You couldn't quite tell what happened after that throw. It's obviously very concerning. If this is your first time seeing it and hearing, oh, there he is on the card. It's obviously bad.
Well, if Jim Nance, if Tony Romo was on the call, he's
Yeah.
going to be like, you just got to hope it's a sprain,
Just
Jim.
those bad sprains, bad cramps. They'll get you.
Mm-hmm.
So here's is it JP Finley?
I think it's Ryan.
Ryan Finley?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is Ryan Finley. Oh, here's
Zach Taylor.
is that Zach Taylor? I can't see him yet.
I was going to say, did you forget the name of the head coach?
No, I
because
know
I know a
it's
lot of people do.
CAC.
A lot of people forget,
All right, so
who
here
is the Bengals head
here
coach.
is this wicked replay of poor Joe Burrow, Rookie of the Year, up until this play. Takes a hit high and low.
Boom,
There
boom.
goes
Look
his
at that left knee.
and
Look at that left knee. Boom.
pop.
Oh, yeah. See, I didn't see that the first time around. That's insane.
Nice.
Like, it already looked bad. It already looked like something was poking out. Obviously, it was bending the wrong direction. And then you see that snap, and his leg just flattens.
Yeah, because I think at this point there he's okay, just some hyperextension.
those
But
are
then
intense
if we just kind of go
hyperextension.
frame by frame here and you watch this knee here, and
And
Pop.
it's flat.
there
Ooh,
it goes.
Yeah.
So he ended up with a torn ACL, torn MCL, and other structural damage inside of that knee. Bad news, Bengals, with that play. They are going to go into next season with a question mark as to who their quarterback will be for opening day because we are in Week 11 now. That's a quick turnaround to be back and ready for the 1st of September, 10-month recovery period. You're asking for a lot. And poor Bengals now have to essentially finish the season off, and a decently promising season as far as Burrow is concerned. He was on pace to break most of the rookie records for a quarterback. Now, who's Rookie of the Year?
Herbert?
Herbert, probably.
Herbert?
Herbert is also has been a very impressive quarterback all season. He's not a guy who's only playing on one knee right now, so he should be
Nice.
the Rookie of the Year. Because he started, week 2?
Something like that.
I think
don't
so.
know. Whenever Tarad got his lung punctured
By the team doctor. That was
That's
awesome.
still- can you believe how long ago that feels like?
It
that
does
that
feel like
happened?
a long time ago, and
Man.
all my well wishes go out to the Bengals fans because that's brutal. They continue to just get it taken to them.
Jump ship. Jump
Seahawks
ship.
bandwagon's always willing to accept more people.
It's not 2013
You wanna
or
be a
14
12?
anymore, man.
You wanna be a 12?
Ew, stop saying that. Stop saying that.
You can be a part of the 12s.
Stop. God, that's so
I hate
cringy,
that too.
Dude,
I actually hate that a lot.
that's, yeah.
But it is what it is, and that's what the locker room does. We bring up things that most people don't want to talk about.
Fair. All right.
Right.
Yeah.
Season-ending injuries and Mr. Unlimited all the time. But today is Wednesday, the 25th, day before Thanksgiving.
That's right.
We have some awesome plans, and if you ask us, and because I know Jay Ansley is listening, I will be at home with my one roommate doing nothing tomorrow other than doing my thing.
Yep. I'm not
Or-
leaving the studio, actually.
Good.
Yep.
We
Not
have.
putting people in harm's way. I will not do it. Not on my watch. Absolutely
You
not.
heard it here first. The locker room follows Governor Inslee's directives most of the time. But tomorrow is Thanksgiving, so we will welcome. Wow. We will wish everybody here who is watching and will be watching the replay, a very happy Thanksgiving. Be safe.
Would you stop?
Eat a lot of food. Jumping back over to Andrew.
You piece of shit.
And happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Have a good weekend.
See you next week.
Get out of me. Thanks for watching The Locker Room on Spokane Talks. Check us out on Facebook as well as our other platforms. We want to hear from you. Join the conversation by emailing us at info@SpokaneTalksOnline.com. And for more sports news, opinions, and content, follow Justin and me on Twitter.